Welcome to the Sequire Spotlight. I'm Carmel Fisher, and I am the VP of Platform Services for Sequire at Schrex, but also the host of this show that brings you the up-to-date market news and highlights specific, significant companies that we work with. Today, I have the Vice President of Investor Relations with me. It's Mr. Sam Funchess, and he's with Guerrilla RF with the OTC ticker GUER. Welcome, Sam.
Oh, thank you, Carmel. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great, surviving the heat in Los Angeles. How about you?
Great. We actually finally broke the heat wave this week, and it was overnight. It was about 75, so it was perfect.
All right, getting a little better. Awesome. So before we jump into some more details about Guerrilla RF, will you give us a brief overview of what the company does, and then we can dive a little deeper?
Great, Carmel. The Guerrilla RF focuses on radio frequency semiconductors for the automotive, 5G infrastructure, as well as repeater markets, primarily in the US, but also worldwide.
Wonderful. So you'll be a part of our Semiconductor conference on September 15th. What are you hoping to achieve with it, and what excites you the most about that opportunity?
Yeah, so our focus right now is making sure that we promote the company's newly listed stock and make sure that people know about Guerrilla RF and what we do and how we go about doing business. Clearly, promotion of a company as a newly listed entity is very important, as you guys are well familiar with.
100%. So the semiconductor industry is, there's a lot of excitement around it at the moment. What exactly does Guerrilla RF do in that space? I see there's a speak of the wireless infrastructure market. There's, everything related to 5G, automotive connectivity. I think it's such an in-depth industry that not many people know too much about, specifically where Guerrilla RF is involved. So a little more detail for us to know exactly what the operations look like for this company.
Great. Carmel, yes, the semiconductor industry is a very complex industry that has a lot of segments. We hear in the news every day about how there's semiconductor shortages. And at that level, it's really hard to understand how many different variables there are. So you have cellular infrastructure, which is your cell phone towers, repeaters. On automotive, you have the infotainment system, which requires a lot of semiconductors. You have the radio, internet, as well as repeaters in the car that are very important. You also have the cellular handset market, which every handset has many, many semiconductors included in it. And for us, we're focused on the sending and the receiving of the digital content, primarily from the cell phone tower to a vehicle. We manage the parts that receive and send power on the vehicles, as well as on infrastructure. We have parts inside the antennas that are literally on the cell phone towers or the 5G stations.
So there's been a lot of activity in the market. I don't have to go into the details, but of course, the geopolitical environment, the inflation that's consistently, teetering up, so to speak. How is this affecting what Guerrilla RF does?
Yeah, the geopolitical environment in today's world is just unprecedented and uncontrolled from a company level. We do have a lot of exposure to Taiwan. The geopolitical pressure with China on that is in everybody's concern, because Taiwan does what is projected to do 70 to 80%, depending on which statistics you look at, of all the semiconductors manufactured in the world. And when you think about the concentration of semiconductors in Taiwan, that is a true threat. How we manage that as best we can, we cannot leave Taiwan from a perspective of manufacturing, but we have diversified our supplier base to include other countries within Malaysia, as well as factories in the US for the manufacturing of the actual semiconductors. We plan to continue that diversification as best as we can and manage it as best as we can. But that geopolitical risk is real, and it's a worldwide issue, not just a Guerrilla RF issue, thankfully.
Thankfully, for sure. So with the US Federal Reserve, continues to hike the rates, and there's another meeting coming this month in September. How do you foresee that impacting Guerrilla RF?
Yeah, for us, the things that are outside of our control, we try not to spend too much time on. We try and make sure that we're aware of what's going on outside. Clearly, as the economy slows from increased rates, that means we have to manage our business in concert with that. One area that we're pleased with is the automotive sector, even with the increasing rates, has been very robust. And each one of the manufacturers has discussed the fact that they are not seeing any let up in demand as it relates to people interested in their cars. Edmunds just announced that the average sales price on vehicles has surpassed another record. So for that, we're pretty good. On the infrastructure side, usually interest rates do not impact significantly the investment that corporations make, large corporations specifically. It may slow them down a little bit, but it does not impact like the retail sector of the economy.
Right. We see that Guerrilla RF grew 15% over the past year as of 9/8 of 2022. What would you say accounts in terms of your strengths? What accounts for that?
A lot of it accounts for the fact that we've performed very well with the sockets that we have won to date, and that has allowed us to expand our products into other sockets of our customers. An example of that is our SDARS chip, or satellite radio chip, is the only one in the marketplace that meets Sirius XM's stringent requirements on their band. If you remember several years ago, AT&T and Sirius XM got into a real big fight over AT&T cellular network bleeding into Sirius XM's network. Our chipsets are the only ones that really isolate Sirius XM's radio frequency from AT&T's. And that gave us a lock into a lot of sockets for Sirius XM radio. And what that has turned into is access to other sockets within the automotive sector, and has allowed us to grow organically with our existing customer base. So that's been really exciting for us, and we plan to continue that. Our customers are constantly asking us for new products or products that can meet their specifications. And our applications team looks at existing products that we have to see if an existing product can meet their needs, and therefore we can get them products very quickly. Or if we need to make custom products for them, that takes a little bit longer just because of the testing that goes involved with that. But we are happy to custom design chipsets for our customers.
Sam, any news on new locations coming up? And firstly, where are you guys based right now?
Great, Carmel. We're located right in the center of North Carolina in a city called Greensboro. It is the headquarters and founding location of Qorvo, which many in the semiconductor world are aware of. We started in 2013. We're currently in a 10,000 square foot facility in Northwest Greensboro, and we are in renovations on a 50,000 square foot building that we will be relocating to in early 2023. The benefit of that new building is we're going to triple the size of R&D facilities that we have, and will allow us to bring more products to market faster than we were able to in our existing building. Excellent.
Apart from all of that, any issues that investors should know of in, say, the midterm, apart from all the geopolitical issues and, you know, the market environment, etc.? Is there anything you'd like to shed some light on? And also, of course, some strategies that you already have in place to overcome those?
Yeah, so the semiconductor market in general has seen an overall slowdown in Q2, and in anticipation of the Fed's increasing rates and slowdown in the economy. The benefit that we've seen is that we've not seen cancellations. We have seen some push out of orders to the next quarter or 2 quarters out, but we have not seen cancellations, which is what we're really excited about. That means for us, we anticipate 23 to be very strong. Q3 is looking better than we expected. In Q4, we anticipate it's probably going to be pretty good, just like the rest of the sector.
Wonderful. Any foreseen corporate changes looming that you can talk about?
Yeah, the biggest corporate change is we are very focused on uplisting to the NASDAQ markets. We are aiming to do that in 2023. The initial target is Q2 of 2023. There's a lot of work that we have to do organizationally to get that level of achievement, and we have an entire team that's focused on that. So far, we meet all of the governance requirements associated with uplisting, so we're pretty excited. That's normally the hardest part that companies experience. For us, we just need to make sure that we keep our price of our stock high enough, and we have the correct number of shareholders. So those are our biggest challenges, and we don't see those as that difficult of hurdles to leap over.
100%. And the fact that you've partnered with Trax and Sequire to get that story out, I think you've made an exceptional choice there. And so we're looking forward to seeing those results in, say, 2023. Before we close off, of course, any most recent earnings or revenues you'd like to report on or highlight for us?
Yes, we reported our Q2 and year-to-date numbers. And for the first half of the year, we've seen grown from 5.6 million in revenue to 7, and that's about a 25% growth rate. An important factor in those financials, you'll also see that we increased our research and development investment by 80, and then we've also increased our sales and marketing team by 80%. And that is all to drive that revenue, right? We are very focused on growing revenue because that is where the value of a company comes into. And we again see 23 and into 24, 25 being very strong revenue growth stories for us.
Excellent. So we've said quite a bit in this conversation, very important things. I want to make sure that we give our viewers at least 3 key takeaways that they can walk away from this conversation fully understanding what your message is today.
Yeah, our message is that we're a young company that has recently listed. We are growing rapidly at critical pieces that we do have revenue. There's a lot of semiconductor companies that have come onto the markets in the last few years that are still in the research and development side, and we are in revenue. The other piece is that we're focused on 2 primary growth markets. That first one being automotive. It's about 25 to 30% of our revenue. The second is going to be the 5G infrastructure market, which is about 21% of our market.
Wonderful. A lot of exciting growth in the near future. Where can our investors and viewers find more information on Guerrilla RF?
Sure. You can find more information about Guerrilla RF at Guerrilla, GUERRILLA-RF.com. And then on our website, you'll see the Investor Relations tab. You can find everything that you need there, as well as go to the SEC's website.
Wonderful. Sam, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm Carmel Fisher. You're watching the Sequire Spotlight, and that was Guerrilla RF, the OTC markets with the ticker GUER. Stay tuned for more.